Hey Jennifer, it's Lyra. Thanks so much for reaching out. I'm going to go ahead and get started on um, your future love tarot spread. And we're going to go around the heart and I'll answer each one for you, okay? All right, so starting off is our first question, and that is going to be, why haven't you found true love yet? All right, so we've got the Nine of Coins here. This card has a lot to do with how you feel about yourself, okay? You know, when this card is upright, we are feeling very confident about who we are. We're feeling very sure of ourselves. There's not a lot of second guessing, and there's a lot of confidence. But when it's reversed, we're kind of lacking in all of those areas. There's an uncertainty of, what you want, if what you want is enough. There's an uncertainty of, am I good enough? Am I enough of a partner or a person as an individual to eventually be in a partnership? So lots of second guessing and a lot of doubting yourself and feeling kind of uncertain about where you fall in line with, your true calling, your real purpose. So I think that, just based on this card alone, it would really benefit you to have a chakra balancing or a chakra checkup reading, which I have here. These are chakra cards that can give us more clarity as to what's going on with your chakras from the root to the crown. So I would recommend that, because this tells me a lot about your solar plexus. That's going to be your third chakra, and that's located in your stomach. And that has a lot to do with your self-confidence, your belief in self, your belief in your capabilities, your insight on how you deal with other people and how other people relate to you, and your body image. Okay, so this is, I feel, in a position saying that you are not too sure about you, sweetheart, and that is a tough place to be in. I mean, we've all been there. We can all relate to this, specifically when it comes to body image. I mean, the world tells us we need to be something that we don't really feel like we can be, or it's really hard to achieve. And so we fall back into ourselves of not being, this pattern of thinking of not being enough. I am here to tell you that you are leaps and bounds worth of enough, and it comes down to one sheer principle fact. If you don't think you are enough, then other people will pick up on that, okay? So the more that you start seeing yourself as enough and as worthy of love, as worthy to be here, and that you have a purpose for being here, the more love and other opportunities will start coming into you. It's when we let go of this kind of outdated way of thinking, which was probably something that you had to, you unfortunately had to experience growing up as a child. This feeling of not being enough, or, not ever doing enough to make your parents happy, whatever, the case may be. But it does kind of stem from this old archaic thinking that is going to have to change in order for you to really blossom, all right? Okay, so looking into card 2, what can you do about this? Okay, so we have Judgment reversed. I think whenever this card pops up, and especially in its reversed form, we have a lot more to talk about than just what's going on here, okay? Because this tells me you have been in a position where you have had to kind of, fight and claw for what you feel is true. Maybe not necessarily being guided by other people. And because, as you were being raised, as you were growing up. So because of that, you tend to have this way about you of just avoiding the problem, avoiding the obstacles, because they suck. I mean, they're hard to face. But I think the one thing that you can really take away from my reading, I hope, is to know that, you, like every single person on earth, We all agreed with our loved ones, our masters, and our teachers long before we came here that we were going to overcome and face the obstacles that we're facing. You know, that whatever was going to get put in our path was something that we agreed to. We agreed to it because we wanted to become stronger. We wanted to be able to stand on our own and to enjoy the human experience, while also being here to raise your internal frequencies as well as the frequencies of the collective. So you agreed to it. You have to choose. This is a choice of whether or not you can handle the life being given to you, or if you're going to continue to kind of push away these things that are a little bit tougher to face. You know, and by no means is there any judgment in that. I mean, I have done it plenty myself, and I know that we all have, you know, because there's just some things we don't want to have to face and some things we don't want to learn how to change or deal with. And I think that the more that you start confronting the problems head on, the easier things will become overall. Confronting whatever these issues are that are making you feel less than confident or less than worthy. You know, unfortunately, the one shitty thing about trauma is that when you've accrued a considerable amount of trauma, the only way to deal with it is to go back through it. And that's where people get really stuck. That's where, you know, folks may not want to deal or do anything, you know, about the pain that they have except to repress it and push it back down. You know, and that happens when we don't want to face it, when we don't want to look at the hard part and go, why did it happen? You know, what can I gain from it? How can I forgive that person so that I have healing? You know, maybe that person doesn't deserve it, but at least I have inner peace, right? Because the number one thing to remember here is that when we hurt other people, we really just hurt ourselves, because we are a part of everything, right? We are part of the collective. We are the collective. And so whenever you hurt another person, you hurt yourself too, because, you know, and you can look back at every other instance in your life and go, well, yeah, that did hurt me. When I burned that bridge, I was hurt too, you know, and that's why I did it, you know. So this is a needing to face the trauma. This is a call from the universe, from your spirit guides, to say, hey, there's a point here. It's time to kind of look deeper, go a little bit deeper. I think this is going to be a pretty big year of healing for you. And you know, I do talk therapy. I would recommend that for anyone. You know, I think everybody needs a sounding board to be able to hear their thoughts back and go, okay, this is a good idea. This isn't a good idea. You know, this is a good choice. Maybe gaining some extra tools on how to cope. You know, it's all a good practice. And again, I'd like to see where your chakras are at, because I'm also guessing that maybe your root chakra is a little bit out of balance as well, which is where your stability is, where your feeling of sense of security is, your home. It's the root, your feet, you know, rooted to the spot. It's everything that brings up this feeling of stability in your life, okay? So I'd be curious to see what that looks like. All right, so card 3, is there anything I can do to speed up this meeting? All right, my dear, we've got the 6 of Cups. Now, when it comes to the 6 of Cups, this is really saying that we are holding on too much to the past. We are struggling in our past positions. And when you think about the past and you think about the future, you think of them, visualize you standing still, holding a boulder labeled the past, since we're focusing on the past. And there's also one that you're carrying. It's a boulder and it's labeled the future. So when we're carrying both of these boulders, where it's just this weight on us, where we can't live in the present moment because we are thinking too much about the past or too much about the future, we completely miss the point of the present. And then everything else just becomes heavier and harder to deal with because we're still anchored to something from before. So my best advice here is you have to forgive. You have to let go. Honestly, holding on to what you cannot change only hinders you. It only harms you. It doesn't bother the person that may have harmed you, or the action that they may have made against you. It doesn't do a damn thing to them. Instead, it causes hurt to you, It causes you to go down into that horrible mental trap of why me? And then you get stuck there. This is a needing to let go of the boulders that you're holding on to and enjoy the present moment. Okay. And the only way to do that is by forgiving and letting go, saying thank you for these lessons because of how much stronger you are for them. Forgiving yourself for any past actions that you may have caused hurt to other people, knowing that you're going to make better choices in the future, and then being able to enjoy the moment. It's fleeting when we're talking about happiness and things working out exactly as they should. Those moments are very rare, so it's very important to experience these moments just as much as we experience the bad ones. Okay. All right, so question 4, how will you know them? Okay. You are the 3 of Wands reversed. Okay. How will you know them? Now, interestingly enough, I think you might actually already know this person. You already know them. You're unsure of them. This is someone that you're iffy about, I think. I know we did speak about someone. I can't remember their name. It's okay. I wouldn't want to put that on this anyway. But I think you know this person. I think you're having struggles with them right now. You guys might even benefit from getting out of the current situation for a little bit and kind of refreshing, restarting, getting reacquainted with one another, because I think that too much of your energy right now on both sides is being spent stuck, trying to figure out the other and trying to deal with the other and trying to just do too many things at once. When it comes to domestic stuff. So I would say, even if it's not a big luxurious whatever, it doesn't have to be, but just to get out of the way for a little bit, for a weekend, go and do something that the two of you enjoy. Share in each other's company, share in each other's interests, and you guys will start to rekindle a connection, because you both are kind of looking at each other like, I don't know about this one here. I do not know if this is a good thing, if this is not a good thing, if this, what is this, That's kind of where you're at right now. And, it definitely could get better, okay? But I do think that currently you both do know one another, and that there's something here you can't quite put your finger on, but there is something here. And for me, I would even say that this is past life. You both probably have a connection to one another in the past life. I'd have to do a separate reading, to look further into all your past life stuff, but it feels very past life familiar-esque-ish, So, and it's almost like you both are here to clear karmic debt together. Let me know if you feel that way at all. Okay. How will you find them? Well, again, I think this is a situation where you both, one another. You found one another, almost not even looking for each other. This is the 4 of Cups reversed. You both may share in some maybe not so great views of yourselves as individuals. So I see some low self-esteem patterns here, okay? I see some hits on, how you feel about you, how he feels about him. And that's a little bit of, somewhat of your, not everything, not saying everything, but it's somewhat of your connection, where you both understand what it means to be down the mental trap hole, right? Okay. So this is a connection. How will you see each other, or how will you meet each other? I think you've clearly already met. I think that this happened, neither of you were really expecting it, or even, it could be even all that open to it, honestly. It just kind of happened, and that's where you guys are at right now. Overall, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just where you guys are at. So when it comes to 6, when will you find them? You've found them. This is the World reversed. Now, okay, I know we've talked about a little bit of some heavy stuff, but this card doesn't necessarily always represent heaviness. Most cards don't in their reversed form. It just kind of depends on the reader's interpretation. But when we talk about the world reversed, now, when I see this card in relation to what we're asking here, I really feel like there's more to it. It's not just an ending and a beginning. It's more of a, how do we get to a place where we both can feel this upright energy of completion, of achievement, of accomplishment. And that's something that I feel you both can reach together, while you are both partners. It is possible. But the problem when we see this card, because, there's always an up and a down. But the problem here is that it does come down to a point where, you guys can be working towards something and then one of you gets spooked or one of you gets freaked out and just completely is like, nope, I can't do this. I don't want to let go of the habit or the vice or the sorrow, because sorrow, let's be real, sorrow is a very easy thing to kind of stick behind because it's better in some ways, it feels better in some ways to stick behind the worry and the sorrow and the anxiety than it does to make new footprints in the sand. What happens if we fall through the sand? Then there's all this like what if worry energy and nothing really comes full circle. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. You both have the capacity to move each other forward so that you both are really fully enjoying life. But at the same time, you also have the possibility, the propensity to, bring one another down in that way. It's kind of a give and take. And I would suggest that if you are down, or if you are more on the downward spiral of things, just pay attention to it, be mindful of it, and know that, you can continue down that downward track, or you can turn shit around and go, wait, I'm doing it to you. I'm sorry. I don't want to do that. Let me change my way of doing this, or could you adapt or adjust the way that you're approaching things and talking with me, so you're kind of switching up the energy there. Okay. So number 7 is, what energy surrounds this situation? Ah, beautiful. See, world. This is what I'm talking about. You got the 10 of coins here and the world here. So you both are being tasked by the divine, by the oneness, by God, whomever you want to call the energy that is in all things. You both are being tasked to bring up the energy level, the love, the compassion, the empathy, the understanding in one another. And the prize is completion. It's completion. It's full understanding, marriage, family, the whole thing. When we're talking about the 10 of coins, we have a deep trust and a deep meshing of two souls who really get each other. And you get each other in the way that most don't, but it's because, this is, a pathway you can take. It's because you both have worked so hard to build one another up that you become this fortress of connectivity with one another. That's your potential. This is the energy that is around it. You two are already embodying this love, this energy, this trust, this connection. And it's beautiful. It's on both sides. There's no real question about it. You both can really build or tear down anything that you want, as long as you do that together. And I'm going to call it, I still think this is a soul contract. Whenever you've got a soul contract, that means that, again, before you came to Earth, before your time of ascension, your birth, you both came together and agreed that you would clear karmic debt that you might have both, accrued in your last reincarnation, and that you would come together, clear the debt, which means building one another up. That's probably the debt that we're talking about, and gain from that a new perspective and a new way to live your lives. So it's really cool. I like this reading so far. Okay, question 8. Let's see. What will be my first impression of them? Oh, this will be fun. Yeah. 2 of Wands energy. That's so funny because I was like, look how similar they are. They're very similar. So the 2 of Wands reversed. You were not totally convinced, you were not totally sure, there was a little bit of like, I don't really know about you, you know, and there's also still this air, I feel, of you two not being 100% sure of the other. I'd have to go back and look at, see what his sign is. I know you're Aquarius. You know, that's uniqueness. That's the authentic self. Whenever you listen to your authentic self and your higher self, you usually can, you know, produce some pretty amazing shit. I would suggest learning where his Venus placement is and where yours is in your chart. And then a great book to read is called Love Languages. I forget who the author is, but that's a really great book to check out. I recommend that for anyone who wants to better understand their partner and how their partner communicates, because Venus is all about love and self-love, inner love and outer love. And when we understand where the Venus placement is in a birth chart, we can better understand our partner and what they need and how they communicate and how they show love. That would be important for the two of you, because I think that there are often times where you guys have miscommunications or you don't quite understand what the other one is doing. You can really minimize that by educating yourself on love languages. So, you know, I think the first impression was like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know what he's all about. Let's see if this will work out. I hope it does, but I don't know. Okay. So let's see, number 9. Okay, so what will be the main bond between you both? All right, the Ace of Wands reversed. I'm really not all that surprised by this, seeing where the rest of the energy is. This is your main bond being this kind of lower frequency, where we're not really feeling that confident or sure of one another. You both are coming together as being really kind of an unsure, you know, how to continue, what do you do next kind of dynamic in the beginning, because you're both meant to build upon that and build one another up. So ultimately, you're starting from scratch, right? It's not the worst place to be, because you get to be with someone else who's in that same boat and that understands, you know, where you're coming from. And because of that, you both will understand and appreciate one another's weaknesses, as well as grow and create one another's strengths. So all in all, not a bad place to start as your, you know, your starting point and what your overall bond is. Because the cool thing about this particular bond is that, again, just like the world reversed, eventually you get to level up. You know, you climb the ladder as high as you want to go according to you. Okay, so let's see. Our last question is, what do you need to keep in mind about this relationship? Beautiful. Couldn't have asked for a better card, honestly. This is the Lover's card, the soulmate card. This is your person through and through. This is the alpha and the omega. We have Adam and Eve on the card here, represented by sexual desire in the background. This is beautiful chemistry. This is understanding one another inside and out, seeing one another for who you are, down to the RNA of your core, you know, from the tip to the top, right? This is really knowing and appreciating one another's ins and outs. You both are here as a karmic lesson. This is a karmic relationship. This is a karmic understanding, and you guys will likely find one another again in another reincarnation. You know, this is just about how high you go up with one another. It depends on the two of you. It depends on how vulnerable you both can be, how authentic you both can be in who you are as individuals, and with one another together as a couple. It's really going to determine how much you're willing to kind of lay down your defenses and be more vulnerable to communicate your thoughts and your feelings and express the concerns you have as a couple. My strongest advice for you is that when you tackle any problem, you tackle that problem together, hand in hand, rather than looking at the problem and your other half on the other side of it, and you're both, you know, fighting at the problem separately. Fight the problem together, and you both will have a much better time with dealing with these obstacles that come up. Okay, so this is a very beautiful reading. I'm so glad I got to do this for you, hun. And you know, it does look like you two have a very, very meant to be type of dynamic. So work it out. Whatever the issues are, fix them. Whatever the problems may be, work on them together, and you two should have a fantastic life ahead. Okay, thanks so much for reaching out, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. If anyone else would like one of these, it's only $20 right now to look into your future true love, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.